Lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From the BetMGM Sportsbook here at the Beau Rivage in Biloxi. Welcome to the Monday post-Super Bowl 59 edition of Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I'm Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott. Jordan Kinch is back in the studio. Glad to have you with us here on, we certainly didn't have a competitive Super Bowl that we expected, but there's plenty of stuff to chew on as the Eagles.
Well, you had the Eagles.
We had the Eagles. We got that part
Could
right.
be worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
the runaway was a big surprise. There were a lot of surprises in this game. Not that the Eagles won. We had the Eagles. We thought they had the better team, but the manner in which they put the Kansas City Chiefs offense in their pocket was mind-boggling. A team that has the best quarterback in the league, I think everybody agrees that that's Mahomes, was essentially shut out in this game. The Chiefs did not get on the board until this game was well out of hand.
yeah, a lot of garbage. Garbage time, points
right.
and yards, no doubt.
Messed with some of your props and things like that. But the Chiefs did not score a significant point in this game. Eagles did not blitz in this game. They got pressure with 4 all day. And for a Vic Fangio team, he was 0-8 against Mahomes and Reed in their time at Kansas City. And this was a masterful defensive performance. Chiefs did not really even try to run the football in this game. And every time Mahomes tried to get anything going, it seemed like there was somebody from Philadelphia in his face. The Eagles' defense from top to bottom was outstanding in this game. On the other side, if you had, we do this thing about, read the box score but watch the game. If you had told me yesterday at this time that Saquon Barkley would have 25 carries for 57 yards, I would have said, well, the Eagles are probably going to lose this game.
No, you said, would you say, I mean, like, how are they going to win this game with him not getting 100?
It would have to be.
They managed pretty good.
That Jalen Hurts would have to have a monster game. And, the numbers were fine, but it's not like he had to put up 400 yards yesterday. The Eagles got short field after short field. They started 3 of their scoring drives in Kansas City territory. They started 2 more of their drives outside their 40-yard line. So the turnovers that they were able to cause, they constantly kept Kansas City behind the sticks. It was just a dominant performance all the way around. And this game was over at halftime. I would have never figured that Kansas City could be bottled up the way that they were. I don't know that I have ever seen, since Mahomes became the starting quarterback, Kansas City's offense so thoroughly dominated. And, they had Joe Thuney, who was a Pro Bowl left guard, was forced to play tackle.
Right.
He got beat.
Right.
He's a guard. He's not a tackle.
Right.
It happens to a lot of guys. You don't have the feet. You don't have the balance, and he got beat. But he wasn't the only one. There was a lot of that. Jimmy, I just never would have thought that Kansas City's offense could be dominated in such that fashion.
But, Charlie, we talked about the Texans, and I asked Mike Delicano specifically, I mean, how does the Eagles' pass rush compare with the Texans? Because, man, that game, like I said, I've never seen 2 quarterbacks who were just getting harassed. I mean, it was ugly. I mean, they were just under siege in that game. And I mean, this is dominant. You said a lot. Dominant, yes. You called it masterful. I say no. This is very simple. It's very simple. The front 4. Vic Fangio, he might get a lot of flowers today. You stay out the way, Vic. I mean,
when I say masterful, I don't mean it was particularly creative.
No, this was
unique.
This required
Your defensive line dominates like that.
And what did Spags do? He took away option A. Okay, well, when you take away option A, and there were tons of 8-man fronts, he's got single coverage on Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown anytime he wanted. Anytime he wanted. Throw the ball up. I mean, 46-yard touchdown. Smith's waiting on it a little bit. It's a little under, but so what? Just don't overthrow it. I mean, this is some easy throws yesterday, and he was kept clean. He did what he had to do. The best thing that he brought to the table that not everybody, because there's a lot of quarterbacks in the league that could do with the arm what Jalen Hurts did, his legs. His legs, with the few times that he got a little bit of pressure, his legs were really good yesterday. And I thought not just, hey, one look and run like we saw early in his career. It was strategic. Like, let me buy a little time. Oh, let me get some yards. Let me get a first down. His legs were really, really made it, But you take that's one thing Kansas City did. Saquon averaged 2 yards a carry. They tried to get him the MVP. They tried to get him his yards. I mean, they fed him and fed him and fed him. He just wasn't getting anything, and they were. That's one thing. But the other thing, he didn't blitz one time. Why? Why should you?
Didn't have to. No.
I mean, so that front four, they are the MVPs. There's no doubt. This is a great day. We did say, though, Kansas City, and this was where I was wrong, and that was I don't want to reference anything in the regular season because maybe they were coasting a little bit because they had some problems offensively. This was not an explosive team, but man, this is almost a minor miracle that they got this many wins with being exposed the way they were yesterday. I mean, and the other thing is Philadelphia. Is this an underachieving group, or is this a group that's much different than 2 years ago? Because Jalen Carter, does he make a difference? A little bit. Bond, a little bit. I mean, you talk about the two cornerbacks, a little bit. Remember, early in the year when they were 2-2, before they put DeJean in that nickelback, they were bad against the pass, bad. And so this was as simple of a recipe as you could get. We're rushing 4, and we're getting. So wait a minute. You're getting pressure constantly with 4, and they have no real explosive guys. Because Worthy is the cornerback for Cincinnati, Taylor Britt. He told us he's a one route guy. He's predictable. So they don't have, and I mean this was one where the box score you throw out, because I've always said you throw out a box score in a route. It's misleading. This is a very misleading box score.
Sure.
Because this thing could have been, if they wanted it could have been 54-0, 54-3, something like that.
A lot of those Barkley rushing attempts were in the second half where they were essentially grinding this clock down. I mean,
a chunk of them, yeah.
Yeah, this game was over.
But they tried. That's what they were taking away.
Sure, and that's what I would have done too. I don't know that they underachieved. I thought slow starting. It took about a month for this team to come together after that 2-2 start.
They did win their last 16 out of 17 or whatever it is. So
slow starting.
You're right. Maybe it was just. I mean, my goodness. I mean,
and they're a lot different from 2 years ago. There's 5. Mickey Loomis, take note. There's 5 starters on that defense that are on their rookie contract, which allows them to, you see DeJean and you see Carter, but there's other guys that are cheap, productive players, which allows them to spend on an A.J. Brown. It allows them to spend on a Saquon Barkley. Take note.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, get a guy like Jalen Carter who slides to you. Jalen Carter's a classic case, Charlie. I mean, he is a big-time knucklehead, but he's a big-time talent. Do you take a risk? I mean, he could have ate his way out the league. Last year, he can't stay on the field because he's out of shape. Yeah. He looks great for 15 snaps, but then he's off. Then he's winning you the game. My point is, how did Washington and the Rams move the ball as much as they did? Does that makeshift roster that better protecting Jaden Daniels? Or did they have to spy and take another guy out of coverage?
On this day, they were.
Because Washington only stopped themselves.
Yeah, Washington doesn't have the pass rush. I know.
No. Washington's offense.
Oh, Washington offense.
How did Washington's offense in the Rams? I mean, the Rams didn't do it until the end of the game, but at the end of the game, they were going up, and Stafford was going up and down the field in the snow, but Washington moved the ball the whole game and only stopped themselves. How?
All I can tell you is that Washington's offensive line played better than Kansas City's offensive line.
100%. Of course. Yes. And they did. And it's a makeshift, and they put it together. And also, Daniels good. And listen, swap the quarterbacks. Come on. It's the same score. I mean, this is you think this, the one thing I was right. This had a chance to be the Tampa Bay, Kansas City Super Bowl. And it was damn close.
There were some similarities. Yeah,
it was. They couldn't. He was running for his life. They couldn't protect him.
The difference is that Tampa blitzed. I went back and looked at the transcript of that game this morning. They blitzed a lot in that game to get their pressure, and Philadelphia didn't have to.
That's a fair. No. Hey man, this guy could go go to his concession. Fangio can go to the concession stand, get a hot dog, Coke, just sit back, a beer, whatever. He had to do nothing.
They absolutely demolished
the Jimmys and the Joes, man. This is usually more of a dominant deal this much in college. This one special Georgia team or this one special Alabama team really dominates up front. They just can't stay up with them. Not in the pros, man.
No, and nobody predicted this. I mean, what did we do? 70 hours of, coverage last week, whatever it was, from down in New Orleans. I listened to a lot of that. How many different guests did we have on between yesterday and during the week? Everybody, I didn't hear anybody pick a blowout in this game.
The only thing close was maybe my -8.
Yeah,
an
alternate line. Nobody thought that this game would be a rout. The point spread stayed around 1.5 the whole week, and Philadelphia came out and just beat the hell out of them. I mean, it really did.
I mean, how much better? I mean, sometimes it's, there's nothing that Randy, no scheme, nothing. There's nothing the coaches can do in that matchup yesterday. Nothing.
No.
I mean, this is the Jimmys and the Joes, baby. This is nothing but, this is just, I mean, you don't blitz one time and he gets sacked more than ever?
Yeah.
Huh?
6 sacks and
how many pressures?
Another 12 or so. I mean, and it felt like more than that. And you know what? The pick six was one of the ones where he was actually clean. He had time to throw on the pick six. That was a bad throw. That's probably as bad a throw as you'll see Mahomes make in a big game.
It did look like it was not like clean, like just coming clean, but it was like his first look he had time.
Yeah.
His first look he had time, and then he would almost like cradle. He wouldn't know. I mean, it would just – but
and I don't think he saw DeJean on that play. I just think he completely missed him. No. I went back and watched it again this morning. It's like, man, he didn't see him.
Here's the only story, is that, man, they're kicking their butts so bad. It's only 7-0.
Yeah,
remember?
Hurts made one mistake in the game. The
man,
one bad throw that he made, the pick in the red zone. The rest of the day he was clean. But he made one. Yeah, it felt more than that.
They're killing him. It's only 10-0.
Yeah.
You leave it. I mean, it was such a. It was Seattle, Denver.
Yeah. Had a lot of similarities.
Seattle, Denver.
That Seattle up front crushed, Denver's offensive line.
And that was the year where Manning set all kinds of records. That wasn't when they beat Carolina. He had the worst QBR, worst passer rating in the league.
50 touchdown passes that year.
Oh no, he was, and they couldn't because they're getting killed up front.
Yeah,
so
the safety early and yeah.
I just we got a lot to talk about with the props and things like that, and it's just because the props got turned upside down in the route.
Yes,
I mean they just did. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about in-game as well because in-game was important. They refused to adjust that line properly, and man, maybe they made a lot with Kansas City. People betting Kansas City. They'll come back. But if you watched it, there were no coming back. It's so garbage time. We had so much fun over here at the Beau Rivage. Our buddy Carl Johnson, man, wrap it up another football season. We expect to be back for March Madness. We expect to be back again next year. And we had all the people that come up, from the South area. Our buddy Jeff G. from Atlanta, the big Auburn guy. My man Dave Corcoran, I got to give him a shout-out, man. He gave us his props over here. He comes in from Florida. All kinds of folks from around the South. It's an SEC type of sports book, and it's a great time. The VIP deal was great. Tell them what I won, Charlie.
You won a Derek Carr autograph jersey.
Yes, indeed.
And wore it.
I felt like the biggest zero, and I said, they had like a stack of them, or maybe about 4 of them.
Yeah.
I said, this is the only number you got? Yes, sir. Okay.
They gave away some cool stuff. They gave away some Chiefs and Eagles helmets, some of the alternate helmets. It was a really cool giveaway, and you won the Carr jersey.
They gave out about 20 of them, about 14 or 15. I'm like, come on, man, until the table. They said, this is rigged. Call my name. Boom, 5 minutes later. Jimmy Hunt. Yes, indeed. So
you won a Derek Carr jersey.
All right. So here at the Boat Short Drop, look, March Madness, anything. Want to take a trip? Got great restaurants here. You got Mahoney's across the street. Man, Bob was with us at the table last night. Our buddy Squirrel, the bartender over at Mahoney. So just all the tellers over here. A lot of fun. The theater. What about the line at the theater?
Oh, wow.
To get in there.
First come, first serve, and they were lined up right after 1 o'clock yesterday.
Dean, Ahmed, and Mark, and all the great bartenders here. Mariana, and all of our favorite servers over here. So just a lot of fun over here at the Beau Rivage.
Live at the Beau, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the Beau Rivage on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, and also at LouisianaSports.net, where you can also get Jimmy's picks on a daily basis. And yesterday put up pretty much all, or certainly most of the prop bets that we had from all of our contributors, and we had some good spots, had some not so good spots on the
props.
On props,
we got the hosed, man. We got the short end of the stick. Come on, man. What about the call on A.J. Brown? I mean, there, longest A.J. Brown's longest catch over 24.5. Come on, that's done right out. And that was made up, man. Come on.
And they give him a makeup call on.
Oh, they did. No. Yeah, they did.
Hands to the face. Patrick Mahomes' rushing total was a very popular prop. He comes up short by, depending on where you got it, somewhere around 3 or 4 yards. He had 25 yards rushing. 17 of those were on the touchdown drives after the issue had been decided. He did not.
I hit the over on that, Charlie.
You had
yeah. Let me see who had that. That was at Bet Rivers.
Okay.
I mean, 24.5.
Yeah. And it was 28.5. I know when we started talking about it earlier in the week. The Chiefs were the top third down conversion team in the league for the season, and had continued that in the playoffs. They were 45% in the playoffs. They don't make. It was 34-0 by the time the Chiefs made their fourth first down. They had 3 first downs when it was 34-0.
One first down at half.
Yeah, and 2 early in the second half, 1 on each of those first 2 drives before. It's 34-0 by the time they get their fourth first down of the game. Yeah. Mahomes did not scramble for a first down. One of the few times that he's as good as anybody at slithering away and getting none of that happened yesterday. Hurts' rushing total went over by a lot. The 72 yards is the most yards rushing by a quarterback in a Super Bowl.
Dallas over Denver and New Orleans. That's
12.
And they gave it to Randy White and
Harvey Martin.
Harvey
Martin split it.
I mean, this is. Hurts is going to get it. We're in a quarterback era again, but my goodness, that front four. There was a spot where Sweat was he almost had his 3.5 sack.
Right.
He had 2.5. I mean, he could have, we got to have stats, but
Well, Milton Williams, who nobody knows who that is, going into the game yesterday. Of all of those hours of coverage, do we ever mention Milton Williams? No, he had 2 sacks yesterday, right about to be a free agent. Convenient. Vaughn led the team in tackles. Your favorite team, the 85 Bears, okay? They gave the MVP that day to Richard Dent,
yes,
but he wasn't the only one that,
No,
So if they had
if you had one guy that had maybe 4 sacks or something, or maybe if DeJean gets another pick, a pick six in, but it was the front. I mean, the front was just.
They demolished them. Other props. Saquon Barkley well under that rushing total, which was 111.
That was an in-game opportunity too. When we saw the approach Spagnuolo had, we saw that it was going to be tough for Saquon. 99.5, middle of the second quarter was available.
Really?
Yes. We popped on that one.
The other Kansas City rushing props under on Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco. Chiefs threw the ball 12 of the first 13 times, first 13 plays of the game. They never tried to run the football. Right. And by the time they thought about it, they were more than one score.
Well, they can't run it against normal teams.
Yeah, they're not a great rushing team. The tight ends were popular props. They didn't hit. Kelsey didn't have a catch until well after the game had been decided. Dallas Goedert had a couple of catches early and then was quiet the rest of the game. That was a prop that I liked an awful lot. I know
when they quit throwing the ball.
Yeah. He had the one catch on the crossing route.
Normal game, he'd have been close.
Yeah, there were other opportunities there. A.J. Brown under on receptions, under on yards, which did cash on the anytime touchdown.
Which that is another one, that call.
Yeah.
You give him the 30 yards.
That's right. Jahan Dotson, we didn't really talk about him until yesterday. Randy McKay brought that up. He said, they're going to throw the ball to him a couple of times, and they did. Both of those ended up cashing. Saquon Barkley's catches over. He caught 6 passes yesterday for 40 yards. Any of the receivers for Kansas City except Xavier Worthy went under. Worthy ended up with this.
That's a horrible beat, too.
8 catches for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns, and I think.
And he had 5 until when it was 34-0.
They were, inconsequential yards. The game had
brutal
ended.
Beat.
Yeah. The field goals. We thought they might not be in the long field goal business. They were. Elliott hit all 4 of his kicks, and all 3 of them were from 46 or longer. Kansas City obviously didn't.
Even hit the ones that didn't count.
Yes.
All of a sudden, Charlie, split in the middle. It just looked like Morton Anderson kicking in the dome.
Let's see. Both quarterbacks went over their touchdowns. Both of them were 1.5 touchdown passes. Both of them went over that. What else? Barkley anytime touchdown didn't cash. I'm sure a lot of people bit the dust on that one. Carl Johnson told us that was one of their biggest, most popular plays. Barkley anytime touchdown and the yards. And what else am I missing here? Largest lead under 14.5. That seemed like a really safe play.
Yeah,
it was not. No points in the first 5 minutes did cash, though. That was another prop that we had on Football Sunday yesterday. So
it started very slow. No, you could get. A total I think was down like the low 40s at one point in game. The biggest story of the in game one was Barkley staying high, but also them just being stubborn on not. And it seemed like when I was monitoring it, people kept betting the Chiefs, waiting for them to come back.
Yeah.
It was kind of,
They are the poster team for public team.
Yes. You know what? But this was pros versus Joes yesterday. All the big bet. There's a $500,000 bet that came in here about an hour and a half before kickoff on the Eagles money line. Mm-hmm. There's also, but the same guy had like a $300,000 bet on the under and hooked them up. So those garbage yards and points kind of saved the house a little bit yesterday from getting really stung. But the big bets everywhere, and this was all week long, Charlie, were on the Eagles, and all the nickel and dime bets where, the recreational people were on Kansas City.
40 points total at the end of 3. And, of course, the game was over. 22 points in the fourth quarter scored by the two teams to bump it over the total.
And it's when you have those routes, they can just completely shut down, or you can just zoom over, the total. So.
And nobody's going to, if this would have been a regular season game, you might have seen Mahomes and them go to the bench at 8-9 minute mark of the fourth quarter. You're not going to do that in a Super Bowl.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060, full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional services, which you get every time you call 296-0060. Our great team at Legacy Title, Ashley Donald, Mariana Haynes, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody choose but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at the Bow, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the Beau Rivage on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Back here at the Bow, also brought to you in part today by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff have done a great job for our family over the years. So if you got back pain, neck soreness, things that are keeping you from getting around and getting a good night's sleep, let them help you out, target those problem areas, and get you to feeling better, whether it's the exercise and stretches that'll prevent a lot of this stuff, some prehab things. You can also get dry needling, electric nerve stimulation, cryo, ultrasound therapy, number of other techniques that they use to get you to feeling better. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway near Drusilla, Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. So some of the other things that happened in this game, the Eagles went over their team total by a lot.
Macero an alternate team total 30.5 plus 295.
He gave us that one on Friday. That was a really nice hit, and didn't have to sweat it.
What time? What point in the game? It was 31-0.
It was 31-0. Let's see. That was late in the third quarter. About 2 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Okay, that late, huh?
Yeah. The deep ball to Devontae Smith was the one that put them up 34-0.
46-yard touchdown pass. Yeah,
240 in the third quarter.
See, Charlie, and all those short fields. I mean, they could have scored a lot more. I mean,
sure.
Damn.
You
that's 2 minutes to go to third before they got. I mean, they got the pick six. They got the other short one. I mean, how long was the drive when Vaughn had the interception? 15 yards. So you get 14 points of 15 yards?
Yeah, the 5 scoring drives for Philadelphia started outside the Eagle 40-yard line.
Wow.
3 of them started in Kansas City territory. So they were set up with short fields the whole night. The Chiefs' defense actually did what they could for as much as they were expected to be on the field before they finally broke. We had a lot of talk yesterday about Kellen Moore. I told you before.
You were 100% right on him.
Yeah.
How do you know? I mean, who can't coach this group?
You're not going to get anything off of what you know about Kellen Moore from this game, or really from this team.
No.
New Orleans' personnel is nothing close to this. They don't have the offensive line. They do. They don't have the receivers that Philadelphia does. They certainly don't have, Alvin Kamara's a fine back, but Saquon Barkley's in his prime, and Kamara's past his. He's still a good player, but he's not in his prime anymore. But more than any of that, Jalen Hurts is a unique quarterback. We agree on that at least, okay? What you're calling for him is not what you can call for Derek Carr.
It might be a little stretch. A lot of quarterbacks can squat 600 pounds.
Yeah. So I don't look. I'm not holding anything against Kellen Moore.
It's an incomplete.
It's an incomplete, and he wants to call plays. When he gets to New Orleans, and that's fine. He called plays in Dallas. We went over that stat on Friday. Over the 4 years that he called plays for Dallas, they were second in the league in scoring. That's a good number. The year he spent out with the Chargers, Justin Herbert missed a significant amount of time, so that's kind of an incomplete as well. When Herbert played, they were a top 10 offense when he was calling plays. When Herbert didn't play, it went south on him. But I'm encouraged by his pedigree. He's been a lot of places. He's been exposed to a lot of things. I think he's a capable guy. It's about personnel.
Can he get professional athletes to respond to him? Can he Can he out scheme people? We don't know.
The same question.
He does have a little respect
Yes.
within the industry.
The same question you get about every assistant coach is how will they do all the things that assistant coaches don't have to do?
Yeah.
All of those decisions that they have to make, the command of the room. You're much more involved in personnel decisions than you are as an assistant coach. Those are the two big ones, okay? Before you get to how he calls the game. I think how he calls the game will be fine, actually. But those personnel decisions and his command of the team, those are the things that you never know about an assistant until they actually have to wear that hat.
Right.
And he's capable. If Mickey Loomis is going to draft and add to the roster the way he has and stack these contracts the way he has, there's nobody can. Nobody. If Loomis is starting to come around a little bit and saying,
how would you compare Loomis to Roseman? It's Charlie. When you have a championship, there's a lot of people rush to the credit window.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to take a little credit, okay? And everybody tries to, This is one guy. I pick on you at times when you say, well, I want this guy for this. Well, Charlie, who doesn't?
Yeah,
I want this guy for this. He gets it.
Yeah, he does.
That's what he's. I mean, this roster, and we've said it. I'm telling you, one thing we did say, is this just the roster minus the quarterback and the coach? Because that's what they want. And, I mean, this roster was loaded, and we've talked about that. That's one thing we've talked about for a while. Did they ever dominate a team that's going for a three-peat and stuff like that? I mean, no, but, damn, they're capable of it sometimes, man. I mean, to be that close to a Super Bowl championship 2 years ago and add the pieces that they have to Gene, my boy from Toledo, the other cornerback.
Quinyon Mitchell.
Quinyon Mitchell, yeah. I mean, Jalen Carter, Zach Bond. I mean, come on, Saquon Barkley. I mean,
C.J. Gardner-Johnson, big pain in the neck.
I mean, it's easy to say now, but, all of these guys, he kind of got steals on, man,
And the biggest one is he took so much crap for taking Jalen Hurts in the second round. I mean, he was blasted in Philadelphia for
wasted draft pick.
Wasted draft pick because they had Carson Wentz.
I said the same thing.
And he took enormous criticism for that, and that one's turned out fantastic. He ain't perfect. He passed on Justin Jefferson for Jalen Reagor. Okay, so nobody's perfect, but he's way more hits than misses. And again, they've stockpiled draft picks, like the trade they made with the Saints, which netted them some more draft capital, which netted them another starter. And when you do that, when you have, I'll call it cheap labor, but it's cheap production. You're only going to get them on that rookie contract for 4 years or 5 if they're a first-round pick. You get those guys, and then it allows you to have the salary flexibility to go and add an A.J. Brown through a trade or a Saquon Barkley through free agency.
I'm not going to pretend to know the inner workings and the locker room thing, because obviously they had some locker room issues last year.
Oh, at the end of the season, yeah, it was touch and go whether Sirianni was coming back.
Again, he's cursing the fans in the middle of the game. Early in the year. Come on, man. I mean, really? I mean, you think
he's a different cat, man. In the post game, he's saying, "Kellen Moore, come on, let's go run it back." No, he's going to go be a head coach. I mean, come on.
Oh man, I still think about also how an organization feels about those cameras coming in on the training camp deal on HBO.
Hard Knocks.
The Hard Knocks, okay, and they're doing the Giants, and he's talking about trading. Man, and the Mara comes in. I don't want to see Saquon go to a competitor. I mean, did he get the total yardage enough to set the record?
Yes.
Okay,
Terrell Davis.
Well, not only his Super Bowl ring, but the most rushing yards ever, regular season and postseason combined.
Yes, and again, it's organization. Man. If Saquon Barkley had stayed with the Giants, how many more games do they win? The Giants,
1 or 2.
Yeah, and it's not because Barkley's not a great player. It's because look at what you have to add him to. A running back. Again, it looks crazy. Well, the Giants let him go. The Giants weren't going to win with him. They weren't going to be able to put an organization around him in his prime. Okay, they're too far past that. You got a short window with running backs. It made sense for Philadelphia. It would not have moved the needle to make the Giants a playoff team. Good as I know, because we watched Barkley there for 5 years. You got to put yourself in position to make these things. When you want to go add an impact player, you got to have the infrastructure to make it make sense. Okay, let's say that Myles Garrett wanted to go to New Orleans. Okay, and the Saints were willing to trade Cleveland 2 first-round picks for him. What sense would it make? You got no chance. If Myles Garrett went and had 15 sacks for New Orleans next year, they still ain't making the playoffs.
He can be
He's a difference maker. But what I'm saying is the Saints they're 4 or 5 Myles Garretts away, in my opinion, from making the playoffs. Okay, not Myles Garrett.
That might be. I don't know,
that's
man.
A stretch.
I don't know.
Garrett is a top 5 defensive player in the league, probably a top 3 defensive player in the league. That's a bad example. Okay. But they are 5 to 10 players away from being able to field what you would call a team that could get into the playoffs and make some noise.
There's a lot of people that are far off from this Eagles team we saw yesterday.
Oh, of course.
Okay, I mean, come on. I mean,
31 of them.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the team that had the best record in the AFC just got shellacked. I mean, with what we think is the best quarterback in the league.
But there are other teams that you put 1 or 2 difference makers like. What if Houston traded for Myles Garrett? Okay, and put him on the other side of Will Anderson.
Oh my gosh!
Exactly. Okay.
Oh my God! And you got your boy from Danielle Hunter. That defense is legit, man.
What if Detroit
already?
What if Detroit traded for him? Okay.
Oh gosh!
There are teams that it makes sense. What if Green Bay traded for him? There are teams that it makes sense.
So let me ask you this: so we at mid-season. Past midseason, we thought Detroit had the best team before Hutchinson went down.
Hutchinson went down early. It was more that accumulation.
Okay, but there was still
injuries on the defensive side.
Nobody was moving the ball like them, and they were good enough on defense.
Yeah.
Full strength Detroit against this Eagles roster.
I would have loved to have seen it. Detroit couldn't go turn the ball over 5 times like they did against Washington.
And that's the other thing too that we got. What I said this. Eagles are healthy.
Yes.
When I took Philadelphia Eagles sort of exacta to get to the Super Bowl, Buffalo in Philly. I said the Eagles are healthy. I mean, that's a little luck. That you had all these guys healthy, this deep into the season.
Yep, you gotta have a little bit of luck.
There's no question.
Nobody runs it just straight.
Don't forget our friends over at Los Reyes Mexican Grill. When I go to the Queen on Saturdays, I'll stop on by on my way home and have dinner over at watch the games and love it, man. The fajita steak tacos, love that. The fresh guacamole, it is unbelievable. I like to get my fresh jalapenos on the side. A great margarita. They can do any type of tequila you want, or you can drink the house margaritas, both rocks, frozen, top shelf. And speaking of those house margaritas, they're on special 7 days a week, 2:30 to 6:30, a 4-hour happy hour. This is a great staff over there. You haven't been over there lately, check it out, man. The place is beautiful inside. Beautiful days. Hey, we roll up the garage doors and the patio. I mean, a great place to enjoy some open-air dining over at Los Reyes Mexican Grill on Lee, right across from Mike Anderson's, where we'll be tomorrow, just off of Nicholson.
Live at the Bow, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the Beau Rivage on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at the Beau, live at lunch, basking in the aftermath of the Super Bowl. What did you think of the week in New Orleans? There was a lot going on.
It's a sore subject for me, Charlie. But I think,
that's why I asked, because in the aftermath.
I think the wounds are a little too fresh for me to try and go and pretend to have a good time down there. But I think I was pretty damn impressive. I think they did a good job. part of the things you warn your kids about is, because you have poor leadership and, reactionary approach and, blocking this or, the Bourbon and Canal, it's just kind of but I think, so many people really, you saw the visuals, all the reports. They had a good time. And listen, the city, the setup. I've covered Super Bowls in Miami, man. It's an hour, 20 minutes from this party to this press conference to this restaurant to this party. It's all over the place. When you got your hotel, all your hotels or your hotel district, your entertainment district, and a stadium, all within walking distance. Who else has that? Yeah. Vegas is close, but you still got to kind of get. That's a far walk. We've walked, and that's from the Mandalay Bay. That was, closest to it.
And with all
you got the damn rickshaw.
and by the grace of God, I'm still with you.
But I think a big passing grade.
Yeah.
I'm just being fair.
No, I agree from what I saw. And all the reports from the guys that were down there, basically our whole staff was down there on Radio Row all week. The reports were very similar. Never too early for Super Bowl odds to win it next
Philly the favorite now?
They are the co-favorite with the team they played yesterday, the Chiefs.
Chiefs were favorite before.
Yeah, so both of them at plus 650. Ravens second choice at plus 700. Lions fourth choice at
Did we
plus
see
800.
the end of a little bit of a run or the dominance in the AFC by Kansas City yesterday? Charlie, they looked a little. They looked a little bit more vulnerable than maybe most expected yesterday.
You're asking the wrong guy. I thought the Ravens were the best team in the AFC, and Buffalo was the second best team in the AFC, and they both lost. So,
well, teams kind of freak out when they play Kansas City. They kind of go off course a little bit, like Monken last year when they played in Baltimore. Okay,
yeah. Getting
away from the running game, it was so important. The Kelsey's baiting them into personal fouls. The receivers, doing some silly thing. Buffalo I think Buffalo's weak on the bench, man. The game management. Come on, man. Can't you see that just running off to the left side, is that's where they're trying to stop you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that teams should just go in, don't freak out, play your game, play to your strengths. Man, they can. I think they're just a little bit more of a confident approach by some of the suitors in the AFC, Buffalo, Baltimore specifically, than what we've seen in the past.
The sixth choice to win the Super Bowl next year, the Washington Commanders at plus 1,500.
I think the Commanders get a lot of respect. Man, hey, we looked way better against this team, against this defense specifically, than these guys. Way better.
Joe Burrow and the Bengals, the eighth choice at plus 2,000. And down here, let me scroll down. Some more.
Well, you want to talk about the Bengals? If they get a Myles Garrett.
Oh, here's the Saints.
Huh, Charlie?
Yeah. Well, they can't sign their own version of Myles Garrett in Trey Hendrickson.
Saints are longest shot on the board.
Tied with the Titans and Giants at plus 15,000. They are in the cellar behind the Jets, the Raiders, and the Browns. They're behind the Jets, the Raiders, and the Browns.
Okay.
God bless. And no surprise that they would be.
Dickie Loomis, baby. Made man, huh? Made man.
Yes, he is. Unfortunately. Maybe my number one hope for Kellen Moore is that he can turn Loomis around on some of his philosophies. That's more than play calling person.
Yeah, Kellen Moore's happy to be there. He ain't flipping a guy like that. No way.
I'm concerned about that.
No, you're right on that.
I'm concerned about that.
Yeah.
Hour number 2 straight ahead from the Bow, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the Beau Rivage on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Yeah, thanks so much to Carl Johnson at Jack Johnson. He caught a picture of Charlie at the buffet line last night. We had a good time at the VIP. The door prizes, yes. When Richie Lyons called for marketing, called my name. Oh, yes, indeed. Boy, what did I get? And an autographed Derek Carr shirt. We were so happy. We were cashing tickets on the Eagles, in-game and more on the Eagles. Some in-games were available on props and some weren't. For instance, it was a fluid line adjustment on Saquon Barkley's rushing yardage, Mahomes and Hurts, their passing yardage. Of course, the total in the spread, spread in the total, which was going back and forth. This was 17-0, and you could lay 8.5. Wait a minute, I'm going to give. I got the dominant team, and I got a touchdown cushion to start off with.
Better than a touchdown.
Cushion, yeah. So, but one that was still available that we jumped on. Got lucky. This was a lucky one because I thought Worthy was all done in garbage time. So that was a tough one. The call, the bogus OPI on A.J. Brown eliminated his longest catch, was over 24.5, like first drive of the game. So you lost. The lucky one was the first touchdown, and that was when the Eagles lost the toss and elected to. Got the ball to start. Well, I'm going to take the Eagles. Hurts went from like plus 650 down to 500 to 450. Well, we took him at plus 450. He hits because Dotson is called down. I went to the restroom. I said, "This is in the bank, baby." So but no, it was clearly down. But I didn't know that in real time. I didn't say, "Oh, he might be down." I didn't catch that in real time.
What's a reasonable? What would you have expected the live line to be at 17-0 if it was Philadelphia playing?
It should have been.
But somebody besides Kansas City. If they're playing somebody else.
Oh yeah. No. It's if they're playing anybody else.
The Green Bay
line is pick. Yes. That line was very short. If they're up 17-0 against Green Bay, it's probably 14.5.
Yeah.
13.5, 14.5.
Perception of the Chiefs is worth another touchdown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Charlie, how many times had they won when Mahomes? 3 in a row last year in the postseason, 2 more this year. The people that are betting the Chiefs, you can't blame them for betting the Chiefs again.
What was the number one reason that people bet the Chiefs?
Because Pat Mahomes
is the quarterback. Stop right there. That's it.
Maybe the greatest. Yeah.
And yesterday, he played bad. Okay, he was harassed, but he played bad too. Okay, the pick six was on him. I'm not without sympathy for him. No. The harassment he was under, but he did not play well yesterday.
He could have played his A+ game. They're losing.
They would have lost.
They're losing.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I thought maybe a little frustration set in
by the second half,
because it was
sure.
10. When did he throw the pick six? 10-0. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. It
was setting in. It should have been worse. Right. What was our commentary? Man, they're killing them. It's only 10-0. That's the conversations you and I were having at the table last night. So that frustration sets in, Charlie. He's got to. That's what people sometimes think turnovers just happen. No, these were forced turnovers for pressure. He's only got 1 first down. He's panicking. I can't give it up. We can't really stop him. It's only so many times. So that had a lot to do with him playing bad.
The public expects magic from him because we've seen it so many times. We expect magic from him. We liked the Eagles in this game, but we would not have been fall on the floor shocked if the Chiefs would have won because that's what they do. They won every game.
I would not have played a few because I had a teaser I was closing with the Eagles. I had the Eagles straight up. I had the Eagles on alternate line -8. But I played Kansas City early when they were down 7-0 and 10 because I'm trying to middle, and protect. So I wouldn't have played those. Now I still came back. I said, no, I've seen too much when it took Eagles -3.5 and -10.5 in game.
He can only be expected to do so much.
Yeah.
And without a running game, without proper protection, even the best of quarterbacks is going to have problems. So it's the Chiefs because nobody else.
You don't give him a little bit of a pass because he overextended himself and he panicked into playing so poorly. I don't think he just showed up playing like that. He didn't.
No.
They had 1 first down in how many possessions?
They had 1 first down I think they hit the ball 5 times in the first half.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get on the guy. He played a bad game, okay? Wasn't all his fault, but he did not play well yesterday. He is expected to do so much more. And look, We don't expect that
Okay,
from Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow or any of the other top quarterbacks in the league. What do we expect out of Mahomes?
Okay, well, why is it just more of an indictment like, Humans was saying? Why don't they? His guy's got no separation. Kelsey, his guy's got no separation at this point. How is he uncovered as much as he is?
And he can still find holes. We were talking with Mike Delicano about that yesterday.
Well, what about him yesterday? What kind of great? I mean,
he was invisible until all of his catches were after the issue was decided. No, Philadelphia.
Didn't he have 0 at half?
Yeah, he had 0 deep into the third quarter. All of those things were after the game. All those catches were after the score was either 27 or 34-0. No, he can still find a hole in the zone. We talked about it yesterday. He's still, if he had played the last week of the season, he would have been a top 10 catch guy in the league. Okay, if he just catches his normal 5 balls a game, he would have had over 100 catches. He had 97 catches for the season. The numbers that were down were the yardage, the yards per catch, and the touchdowns. But he could still find little open holes in the zone. You're right. He doesn't get separation anymore. He doesn't bust those. The word we used yesterday was explosive. They don't have those explosive plays that they used to have.
Worthy could be that guy, but he's going to have to develop because he's not a great route runner.
And he's a rookie. I don't remember Tyreek Hill having a dominant rookie season, so there's hope for him. I mean, he can run. He's faster than most guys.
But we're talking about explosive elements.
Yes.
But they had none yesterday because he's just not. He can be, but he's just not there right now, and that's why I'm like, wait a minute. They're getting harassed, and they got no potential for explosive plays. This thing is going to be, it's only going to get worse. So, I mean, that's just, When's the last time you've seen an NFL game where it just didn't matter what you did as a coach? I mean, there's nothing. It's not so offensively. It's Super Bowl.
In a Super Bowl, it's not too often.
I mean, that's Seattle, Denver. I mean, there's nothing Manning could do.
A lot of the Super Bowl mismatches didn't necessarily look like mismatches on paper, and it just you get into a situation where something you usually do doesn't work. Okay, it's the toughest thing in sports, man. You get to the Super Bowl, you won 15, 16 games, whatever it is, to get there, and now all of a sudden the things that you did to get to that point don't work.
But there's a lot of things that this team showed us. As many wins that they had. Just all these close games, they getting the benefit of the calls. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of evidence that may have led to, say, hey, no, these guys weren't that good this year. They weren't as good as their record. They got a fortunate call. Denver's field goal protection, my goodness, 7 guys could have blocked the field goal.
Yeah.
I mean,
what did they lead the league in? They led the league in third down conversions. Okay. Patrick Mahomes, that's his stat. Okay, he owns that stat. And yesterday they were 3 for 11, 3 for 12 if you count the fourth down that they missed. He didn't make those plays yesterday. Again, I mean, who could have? With all that,
when the game was still in doubt, it's hard for us to really put too much emphasis on anything past halftime. This thing at halftime, when Kendrick Lamar thrilled the 29 and under crowd and pissed off everybody else. I mean,
didn't see a minute of it.
But there was a good job by them bringing in more notables from older generations, huh? Oh no, they didn't. I
didn't see a minute of it.
Okay.
I think the last. I'm trying to remember the last halftime shot. I think Prince in the rain
was good.
He was good. He was good. Really good.
He was good.
So I didn't see any of that.
Killed it.
But they had 1 first down in the first half.
Yeah,
that's the stat.
And on those like 3rd and 3s or 3rd and 2s, and even like a 3rd and 9, we saw man, his first look wasn't there, and they a lot of them sacks on those 3rd downs. A lot of.
At least Kansas City knows what they need in the offseason.
They need a tackle.
Go find an offensive tackle.
They need a tackle
somewhere. Either
they do.
Draft one or find one.
That is, and they've had, like you said, even Belichick coached the guy for guard forever. He said, no, man, for him to get him and Andy Reid were on his podcast, Belichick's Let's Go podcast or whatever, and he said, man, no, he's done a great job. We just out of necessity we had to play him. He's not a tackle.
They drafted a tackle in the second round last year. He started, I think, the first 2 games, and then they benched him, and he didn't play. They brought in a journeyman in midseason. He wasn't any good, so they had to move Thunny out there, and Thunny's a guard.
Don't forget our friends over at Total Maintenance. Weather's great right now, right? We're just kind of using our air conditioner units sparingly right now. Now is the time to call my friends over at Total Maintenance, 480-1000. 480-1000. Now's the time to get it cleaned, to get it checked. Just make sure all the parts, you don't have a part when it really stresses that unit, when it gets warmer, it's going to break, and it's going to be a much more costly repair. No, these type of things. Lower monthly bills, extend the lifetime of your warranty, and avoiding any potential more expensive repairs. It's $79. $79. Normally $179. You tell them you heard it on Live at Lunch. Jimmy Ott, Charles Hanniger. It's just $79. Normally $179 for this AC check. One-time AC check. Call my friends at Total Maintenance. Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest air conditioning and heating companies. You want to talk about big postseason games in the Dome? I was with Lucas Ragusa when the Saints beat the Vikings and went on to win the Super Bowl as well. That's how long I've been doing business with Lucas over at Total Maintenance. Total Maintenance, 480-1000. The Jimmy Ott, Charles Hanniger, one-time AC heating check, normally $179, is just $79.
Live at the Bowl, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the Beau Rivage on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at the Beau Rivage, live at lunch. Have a new Handycast for you tomorrow. We'll finish our baseball previews. Tigers open up the 2025 season on Friday night. We'll have a look at the pitchers, look at the hitters last week. That's up right now on YouTube. Over the weekend, there were other things going on besides the Super Bowl. We had the best win in college basketball, the best win as Florida went to Auburn and in surprisingly comfortable fashion beat Auburn. The final was 9. It was worse than that.
That was more shocking than the damn Eagles winning to me like that.
Absolutely. They were
the
up
best team at the toughest place to play right now. Places they show all the guys, all the students camping out. Auburn basketball has never been hotter, never been better. And man, they got a great coach, and he knows how to promote his product too, man.
That's a dangerous team, man. We've seen they beat Tennessee by 30. They win at Auburn by 9, but it felt like
was like double digits for most of the game.
They've taken some of the best teams in the country. They played a great game up at Rupp where they came up short. They scored 100 points and lost. That was to open the conference season. That's a dangerous team, Florida.
Florida was able to play Janai Baroum straight up and didn't require any help on him. And if the personnel that Florida has, it's kind of like Condon and the other kid, kind of tall, thin, not really built, white guys that you'd think maybe Broom could just kind of muscle through. Was not the case. They really did a good job on him, and they didn't. So it was easy to defend a perimeter when you don't have to leave your guy in a perimeter. And it just really threw a monkey wrench. Now they also. Their offensive flow was pretty impressive too, and to do it in that hostile of an environment it's the best win of the season, man. I was in Coleman Coliseum, our other one, when Ole Miss went there and beat them. I thought Oates, who's really good. Is the poll out? Are they number 1 now? Is Alabama?
Not out yet.
Okay. Some people expect them to move up to number 1. I'm not so sure, and I'm certainly not going to give up on Auburn and not take them as seriously. This is okay. It's going to be for a fun. This league is brutal, man. And Florida's one of those teams that we mentioned with Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, my guy, your guy, Zakai. If he can play, and this is so simple. Just don't shoot that much. Shoot your 3 or 4 threes a time and create for your teammates. Charlie, The game they beat Florida, he was 4 for 4 from 3?
Yes.
Okay, I don't expect that every game, but I do expect that to reduce, not shoot 17 times from 3 in 2 games combined, especially when you won for 17. And the other thing is create for your teammates. He had 5 assists in the first 6 minutes of the game against Oklahoma Saturday. That's what you need. That's your approach. They don't have guys that can create on their own off the dribble. He has to do it for his teammates. If he has that approach, why wouldn't it maintain? Okay, we've seen 2 really smart games, 2 really dumb games by him. They can be another one of those teams. Texas A&M, I'm starting to feel it buzz. Man, that's another real good win for them on Saturday. You got about 6 teams that none of them are going to surprise me if they're in the Final Four from the SEC.
That's A&M's 4th road win in the conference.
At Ole Miss, at Missouri,
at Oklahoma,
when they were down 18.
Yeah, the other one's against South Carolina, but 4 road wins ain't nothing to sneeze at.
Guess what? South Carolina gives people all they can handle.
Sometimes they do. Yeah. I thought of a comp for Ziegler. Since we've talked about him so much, just on the offensive end, not on the defensive end. Early Rajon Rondo, where they would sag off of him and dare him to shoot. And don't take the bait, okay? He took the bait against Kentucky. He shot 11 times. He made 1, all right? Yeah. Some of those probably weren't good shots, but they're baiting him into taking some of these shots. He's not going to make enough of them. Shoots 4, makes 3. Shoots 4, makes 4. You're going to get better quality of
He's going to get high, 100%. Yeah. Even if he goes 0 for 4, Charlie, but just 4. Okay, 3, 4, 5, that's it. You know, I mean, you have to try create for your teammates. You're not the and man, they had like 35. Now they cooled off. They were hot in the first half and it was stagnant and they maintained their lead. They kind of went through the motions the rest of the way. But they had like 35 points like 6 minutes to go. That team can score because that's the big thing. 1 year, and this has been a constant. This has been a common denominator with Barnes' teams at Tennessee. They're going to defend the hell out of you, but they just can go through these scoring droughts because they don't have a dynamic scorer. They had Dalton Connect last year, and he, for 1 year. And they were great. They lost to a great Purdue team in the regional final. But this team, until the last 2 days, it's very controllable. And, Barnes, I don't know if they stressed Ziegler, whatever. Ziegler's got too many stars to not have it figured out. And so I don't know how they can't identify that as a team, as an individual, as a coach. That's the approach that's going to lend themselves to better results.
He's one of the most important players where the postseason is concerned. How he goes, so goes Tennessee. Another very important player is Wade Taylor. He hits a shot. He hits a shot for A&M with 2 seconds to go to give them the win on the road at Missouri. Like we said, that's 4 road wins in the conference now. Jimmy, we watch enough postseason basketball. There will come a time where you will have a possession where you absolutely, positively have to score. And a lot of teams don't know who gets the ball in that situation. A&M doesn't have that problem. When Wade Taylor is in the game, he's going to get that shot. And so, when you do that, when you have that guy, man, that fixes a lot of other problems for you. And Wade Taylor is, certainly I think one of the best in America at doing that. And he, unlike some of the other guys, he can get his own shot. He can definitely create his own shot. We're brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners when it comes to retirement. There are no 2 situations alike, so Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you, your business partners, your legal team, and tax professionals to make sure that those goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you, and I know for sure because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his staff at 337-981-1376, 337-981-1376, or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors, are registered investment advisors. Securities offered through New Age Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Well, we have to cover the entire gauntlet of college basketball this weekend, so This is the part where we try to make some sense of LSU's late game collapse against Ole Miss. 3 minutes to go, a little over 3 minutes to go in the game. LSU got a layup by Cam Carter that put them up 70-59. 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go. The clock went under 3, still with them holding that 11-point lead. Not only did LSU not score again in the game, and Ole Miss runs off 13 points in a row to win it, LSU only got one shot on goal and 2 free throws in the last 3 minutes and 15 seconds of the game. This is the first game the second game that LSU has had come down to crunch time this season in the Southeastern Conference. The other game was the one that they won against Arkansas. That was a 4-point game. The rest of these games have been long since decided by the time you got to the 3-minute mark. Their average margin of defeat going into the game on Saturday was just under 15 points. So they had not, unlike Ole Miss, been in this situation very many times this year. And they did not respond very well at all to that. The turnovers, the offensive foul on Cam Carter was a huge play. And I know this happened earlier in the game, not inside the last 3 minutes, but they miss a wide-open dunk. I still don't know what happened. I watched that play. I went back and watched that play 3 times. I still don't know how he missed it. It wasn't one of those ones that goes off of the back of the rim. Every now and then you see somebody spike a dunk. They'll hit the back of the rim and it'll carry them out of there. This one was off of the base. He's driving baseline, and obviously caught too much iron. He misses a wide open dunk. Well, they end up losing the game by 2. If you're watching this, and you probably aren't, because the apathy is really set in. LSU's lost games now pretty much every way you can lose them. They've lost blowouts. They've lost some low-scoring games. They've lost some high-scoring games. They have lost now in the last minute. And they've lost to good teams. They've lost to some not-so-good teams. The whole thing, real bad. I can't – I'd like to be able to analyze it. I'd like to be able to give you something like, hey, did you know, or did you notice, or what about this? But
Charlie, how does
there's nothing? There's just nothing there, man.
Yeah, well, the roster's weak. Man.
The roster is weak.
You know what's funny is they beat the dog mess out of Kansas State at their place, and all of a sudden,
actually,
one of the hottest teams. You know, Kansas State and Arkansas both cashed tickets over the weekend. Kansas State won. Arkansas kind of got in the back door late, but they fell a little short against Alabama. Alabama, something about their style of play, I think, makes them more capable, easier to handle the road, playing on the road than a lot of teams. I mean, that's a nice win, against a surging Arkansas team.
Why do you think that is?
Because it's predetermined. They shoot threes. There's an analytics approach, threes and layups. Yeah. They don't take mid-range, so there's not a whole lot of creativity. They know where their spots are, and it's just it's a very simple approach.
They're comfortable in their roles.
Yeah, but there's not a whole lot of figuring out.
Okay.
Because it's just so extreme. I mean, they're shooting threes or they're shooting layups and dunks, and that's it. Now, there's a lot that goes in it with the ball movement and things like that, but I don't know what else it could be. I mean, this is different players, but Oates, they handle the road. I've seen it before, a few years now, a little bit better. But does this, because all of a sudden, nobody's talking about LSU basketball, okay? There's a lot of national writers, hey, check out this collapse. 13-0 run to end the game, da-da-da-da-da. Does that add more attention, more pressure on maybe making a change? As opposed to just losing by, 3, and they trail for most of the game.
Maybe it puts some more light on it.
Yes, it does.
But I don't know that it changes the problem that they have, which is an $8.5 million buyout. That's still there. I don't know how you get around that. I mean, I don't know if they have that to spend even if they wanted to. I mean, maybe they do. It's a $200 million budget, but if you pay out that 8.5, you're still, I think, I think you've still got some football buyouts that you're taking care of from that staff from last year. Meaning the 23
well, at some
season.
point, if
and then you got to go hire
Charlie,
somebody.
if this year or next year,
Yeah.
okay, one year McMahon's salary, is that going to make the – I mean, you got a very important hire on your hand. We don't know that – anybody worth a damn is going to demand a decent salary, but also going to demand, $3 to $5 million on NIL annual budget or player pay.
And McMahon is on the lower end of the salary spectrum. It's
what has he done to excite boosters and try and reach out to get to them to try and hustle it?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
So yeah. So I mean, that's part of the job. If Nick Saban had to have people over at his house after games because they were boosters, they were influential on his, he's got to. Everybody's got to go hustle.
I think the NIL money might be easier to raise than the buyout money. I think that if you got another coach in here that was hustling, I think some of the boosters would respond to that. But does the administration want to swallow $8.5 million? And you're right. You make a good point. It's $6 million next year. Right at $6 million. So you being penny wise and pound foolish.
And that's why if you got the right guy this year available, because he might not be. Who's available this year is not necessarily available, is probably not available next year, and vice versa. So you got 2 years, 2 off seasons to kind of cherry pick. Look at maybe some guy. And listen, and I'm not going to kill the hire. This is not a good fit. You talk about fits all the time. Yeah. This is a fan base. It's not going to just flow in. The money's coming in. Everything. You got to bet. You got to bang a few. Mulkey's going to demand for the women's team to have more of a staff than the men's is a joke. Sorry.
They're spending more money.
Okay.
They're spending more money on women's
But guess what?
basketball than
Mulkey is doing what's necessary and hustling and shaking some things up to get that.
Yes.
Okay.
She's relentless.
Johnson's
raising his money for baseball. He doesn't stop.
Period. She works harder than McMahon.
Yes.
Period.
Without
I'm sorry, but you gotta work harder, bro. You got to get out there and hustle. You got to get people excited. Well, now the damage may be done because you're a loser. Because this is a losing product. This is not a product to get behind.
This is 2.5 years with the Southeastern Conference.
Okay.
This is enough of a sample size.
Yes.
And this is the first game that you lost that you were competitive in. The rest of them have been blowouts.
Yeah.
I mean, the second close game you played, you won the other one against Arkansas. You've been blown out. I mean, you're not even – which is probably one of the reasons why they fell apart at the end. They're not used to playing in games like that. Every game they played in the league except Arkansas, they were out of it by 3 minutes ago.
The Auburn game where you had 44 combined turnovers and offensive rebounds.
Yeah, I think that's
yes,
right.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what happened in this one in the 3.5 minutes. It was 8. That's a lot. Five offensive rebounds and 3 turnovers.
You got one shot. That blows my mind.
Well, you got a trip to the free throw line.
And 2 free throws.
You got a trip to the free throw line. So that's basically two attempts.
You got 2 attempts in 8 possessions, 9 possessions. I think
I
it
don't
was.
know. No, it was
something like that.
Yeah, you got more turnovers than shots. Yes, or attempts.
We've seen double-digit leads evaporate in the last 2 or 3 minutes of a game. It happens. It's not common, but it happens. But it almost always involves missing a lot of free throws.
For the way this thing was going, Ole Miss was lucky to avoid a last-second shot by LSU to win it at the end. For Ole Miss to win it in regulation, and not, you know what the probability of that is? Well, plus 1,600 some places.
I was about to ask you.
Yeah.
You had a live line on the thing plus 1,600.
Yes.
Now, I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have taken that one.
No, we want to thank our friends over at Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. Your law firm for a lifetime. 343-1111 and ocbrown.com. Don't forget that we will have the picks again this week for the. How about Burger? Wes Reynolds gave out Burger, and he was second yesterday at about 85-1 this past weekend at the Waste Management. So every Wednesday. Hey, don't forget also downtown, it's King Cake season. Our friends at Town Square Pizza. They brought some king cakes over to the Guarantee Media, our studios on Government Street, our offices, made for a happy company that day. So, hey, go check them out, man. Not just that piping hot fresh pizza that a lot of people love so much, but also the king cakes. It's king cake season over at Town Square Pizza. The square shaped square, just like all of our pizzas. So really good stuff. Check them out during the King Cake season, Carnival season. King Cakes from Town Square Pizza.
Quick note as we go to break, they did come out with the AP poll during this segment. Auburn stays number 1 despite having lost. Alabama number 2, Florida number 3, Tennessee number 5. 4 of the top 5 teams in the nation from the Southeastern Conference. The other one is Duke. We'll take a break. Live at the Bow, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
The Thibodaux store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux. We're getting into crawfish season, and of course, if you want to do your own cooking, crawfish pots available at the Thibodaux store, and huge jambalaya pots too. If you're going out tailgating, hey, LSU baseball starting this weekend. Lots of non-conference games at the box here in the next 4 or 5 weeks. So get your jambalaya pots. Lots of grills, big green egg cookers. Oh man, Jimmy, I made that purchase last week. A big green egg cooker. They've got all of those in stock. Custom-made Cypress furniture. Tons of fishing gear. You get a lot more than hardware at the Thibodaux store. Shop it online at ThibodauxStore.com. You can have your Cajun cookware delivered, as well as a lot of your hardware items are available for free delivery off of the website. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, and online is ThibodauxStore.com.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the Beau Rivage on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Beau Rivage. We'll be taking a little bit of a break from our schedule here at the Beau. We've been here throughout the football season, all the way through the Super Bowl, of course. So we will be back for March Madness. We talk about the activity in this sports book all the time for football Saturdays and football Sundays. It's also popping for the NCAA basketball tournament. So
we'll be here, Charlie.
We're looking forward to being back here for that. If you missed, some of in the post game, there was a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of people. It's been a long day for the Super Bowl. They just, head off and don't watch some of the post game stuff. Dan Orlovsky, who's been at ESPN for quite some time, and he actually
opinionated.
He actually did this on First Take this morning. I don't want to say this was in the post game, but in the aftermath, said, "I'm taking a break. Won't be on TV for a long time. Never know what the future holds, but I'm taking a break, and I just want to say thank you." Speculation in the industry is that he may be on Kellen Moore's staff in New Orleans, and that's a little bit a little bit surprising. Okay,
there's no coaching experience, huh?
No.
Did he do some did he work with quarterbacks kind of like Rohan?
I don't know.
Tutor them or lessons or something.
The last time his contract was up at ESPN and he re-signed, there was some speculation that he had been offered a couple of jobs in the league on some staffs and had turned them down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, he does not have any experience coaching in the league. Obviously, played quarterback in the league. So I
don't know, man.
Well,
kind of goofy.
Oh, on the air, he's definitely an acquired taste, and it's kind of a little bit about the ribbon that they give him, and how he eats and stuff like that. But he's a knowledgeable guy. I'm curious because we expect that Doug Nussmeier will be on Moore's staff, and I think is the OC. But last week near the end, in one of the media availabilities, Kellen Moore was talking about his brother Kirby, who is the OC at Missouri, and he said, he's going to have an opportunity to move up here soon. And then he kind of said, very soon, actually, which, kind of led you to believe he might have been the quarterback's coach with New Orleans if Nussmeier was the OC. And Moore's going to call the plays, so, who more comfortable would he be with than Nussmeier, who's been with him at 3 stops, and his brother? So if Orlovsky,
that's amazing, huh? Last 3 stops.
Yeah, Dallas, Los Angeles, and Philadelphia. So my question is, does his brother stay at Missouri? You say, here's the problem. An OC job in college to a quarterback coach in the NFL, but sometimes those guys want to go up and they want that on the resume to be a head coach later. They want to say that they did a year or 2 in the NFL. I think about Will Muschamp left as a DC at LSU to go with Saban at Miami just to put that on his resume, and he got a head coaching job. So maybe
this is one of the concerns when you hire a young coach who really doesn't have a whole, because of being in coaching for a limited time, you have a limited amount of contacts and people that you have coached with.
What concerns me,
And also your little experience. When has he had to put together a staff before?
never.
He hasn't.
He's had some impact, some input in the hiring of the offensive staff, but ultimately it's been the head coach's decision when he's been the OC. As big a concern as that is, Jimmy, is the timing of this. There were reports last week that the Cowboys had hired a couple of coaches last week that Moore would at least reached out to. The field of available assistant coaches has been picked over pretty good. Okay, they're multiple weeks behind everybody else.
And because it's not a desirable outfit to get. I mean, no. I mean, when I don't know, even the Jets or the Raiders with their problems, maybe those are too bad examples because those are perennial underperforming organizations as well. But there are more desirable staffs to be a part of than the Saints.
Is that true for the staff? I understand why it's true for the head coach, because if you're Kellen Moore, you get a shot as a head coach. You coach here for 3 years and you lose the job, you may not get another one. You're not guaranteed to get another shot. But for an assistant coach, do you get the opportunity to go, hey, man, they're going to give us some time here. I may be able to go there, and I'll get 3 years in one spot. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching.
You don't get 3 years anywhere, Charlie, in any situation in the NFL. You don't get 3 years anywhere guaranteed. No.
Dennis Allen almost did.
Of course, there's plenty that have, but you bottom out. You go 5-12 back-to-back years, nobody's saving their job. It's the NFL,
no,
man.
you go 5-12,
1 year. How many coaches get fired for 1 year?
A lot.
It's a chunk. Okay,
yeah.
so you talk about 3? No, hell no, 3's. They ain't given anywhere. No, they're still the National Football League.
Not guaranteed 3 years. That's probably, like I said, that's probably a reach. More patience than the average organization in New Orleans?
Because they were more patient with Dennis Allen, because they're more patient with Mickey Loomis.
Yeah.
Okay, well, patience, undue patience means poor leadership.
They have been way too patient in a number of cases. You'll have some people tell you that Willie Green maybe has. Now I don't necessarily agree with that. They were moving. They had increased their win total 5 consecutive years before everything bottomed out this year. But
they increased their win total 5 straight years.
Yeah.
Going into this year.
Yeah,
you show
positive.
Golly.
They got up to last year they won.
Last year, what was their seed?
49 games. They were
49 and 33.
Yeah,
49 30.
So that started at like 31 wins, I think, on the first year
I
of that.
But still,
they moved up. The organization is thought to be one of the more patient. I feel comfortable saying that, one of the more patient organizations. Maybe that is a weakness. Certainly with the general manager for the Saints it is.
Well, because, it's they had so much success for a long period of time. They promoted from within, which is not let's not be.
Let's see if this works.
I had no problem with it when they did it, so I don't want to say after the fact because it failed with Allen. I thought they waited a partial season too late. I had seen enough of Dennis Allen. That's the only thing. And now the Loomis stuff is there's no other GM in the league that can have the track record that he has to be so far the worst out of 32 by a good lead to have that track record and survive. You just don't do it. And so the patient, and that's poor ownership there.
No argument.
Sorry, Miss Gale's great, but not when it comes to protecting Loomis, who's an underperformer.
Expect an announcement later today or tomorrow from the Saints on.
Nobody's surprised there, but no, Kellen Moore got a rough go ahead of him.
He got to work cut out for him.
He sure does. Don't forget our friends at United Community Bank. You know, running a business can be difficult enough without the right relationship with your bank. With United Community Bank's local business bankers, you're not just a number, you are a partner. Again, United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Our great team at United Community Bank, Prentice Wilkes, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, and David Henry. I want to thank them for all that they do. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Pelicans lost to the Thunder last year, who were the number 1 seed.
They're 8, so they were 8?
Yeah, they run out.
Play-in?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right, because I went to playing against Lakers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Live at the Bow, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the Beau Rivage on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
We told you going to break earlier that 4 of the top 5 teams in the country are from the SEC in basketball, and Auburn held on to the top spot even with that loss to Florida, who's now number 3, and Alabama is number 2, and they play this weekend, which is the first time ever that the basketball Iron Bowl is 1 versus 2.
It's basketball series.
Basketball state, huh?
Yes, indeed.
Basketball schools, those two.
Auburn been to the Final Four 1 time. Bruce Pearl brought them. They beat Kentucky in the regional final. Had Virginia beat. Had the lead up 3. A double dribble was not called. And Virginia hits a 3 at the end of regulation to send it to overtime. They get beat. Alabama last year, their first Final Four ever. Game ball UConn only could handle, man. High scoring game. I think UConn still may have covered, but it was tied. Under 10 minutes to go. But the Alabama Crimson Tide, they're first. So the number 1 versus number 2 teams in college basketball right now with their combined Final Fours, not as many as McMahon's team. Your LSU Tigers. 3 Final Four trips.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I was looking. I was looking for the stat, and I just had
LSU women played late yesterday. Huh? They were kind of close to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they
that was the last team.
Tipped at 3.
Really? It's that late?
Yeah, it was a TV deal, and they beat Tennessee for the second time this year.
Another close one.
Yeah, they've lost 1 game all year, and it was at South Carolina. You know, can't kill them.
South Carolina got beat over the weekend, right?
Yeah, they did. They did.
Who beat them? Texas.
Yes. Yeah. Here's a stat: 9 teams in the poll for the 7th straight week in men's basketball, including 3. The top 3, 5 of the top 10. No other league has had 6 ranked teams in any week this.
Yeah, but for the top 5, I think that's a first ever.
It may very
historically.
Well be. It may very well be.
Think about it. I mean, come on.
No,
you know what I mean?
You wouldn't think. Yeah, South Carolina lost at Texas by 4. That Texas is top 5 team in the country. They're
the women.
Yes,
yeah.
The women. They're number 4.
You're going back and forth to the men and women.
I am.
Charlie.
I'm confusing myself. It's been a
propped out. Huh?
Man. Prop squash.
Propped out. That blowout screws up all the props.
I had to win inside, and I had to win in total. I washed out.
Oh, you're over too?
Head over.
Good.
Yeah, get that out on Friday. I missed on my props. I missed on Goddard. Missed on A.J. Brown. You know, can't have everything. But
no.
As we wrap up, thanks to the Beau Rivage. These guys have just been phenomenal all season long. We're looking forward to coming back for March
wrapping
Madness.
up our second season over here for football. This will be our 3rd final March Madness that we have over here for opening weekend. So March we'll be back over here at the Beau Rivage. Carl Johnson, all the tellers, everybody, Mr. Ritchie in marketing. Yes, great time. We treated very, very well. And we appreciate all the people coming up and talking to us that have heard us over here.
Tomorrow we're back in Baton Rouge at Mike Anderson's. For Jimmy, for Jordan Kinches, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.